back to my channel. It's your girl Dawn and I'm back with another video. So today is gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna be talking about Netflix, okay? What do I watch on Netflix? And what do I recommend you to watch on Netflix? Like, I'm a binge watcher. I'm a homebody and I love sitting back, watching movies and watching TV shows. So I'm gonna tell y'all a few of my favorites. I have 15 different TV shows that I'm gonna let you know about. I may give a brief description of the TV show so that y'all can have a little bit of an idea on what's going on with it, but I won't give too much details because I want you to watch it for yourself and see what I like about this show. So let's go ahead and get into it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to your girl channel, okay? Thanks. Alrighty, so I got my notebook. We're gonna go ahead with number 1. So the first TV show is called Sex Life. This show is amazing. It is number 1 for a reason because it's really the best on this list. This is for 18 and older, honey. Do not be watching this show if you are under 18. It's a lot that go on. I mean, hell, the title is Sex Life. So this show is pretty much about a house mom that used to have a crazy sex life when she was younger. So she's married with 2 kids. She used to have an amazing sex life, definitely with this one in particular dude. And her husband's sex is just, it's okay. Like, it's just normal, boring. I mean, let me not say boring, but it's just normal. I mean, you will see on the show where it seems to be boring to her. So, pretty much the guy that she was in love with, you know, that one guy that has everything but that one thing, but they have everything else, definitely with sex. Y'all know, like, you know, us women, you know, you always got that one that was just, you know, I ain't gonna do too much, but so pretty much he had the whole package, except for he didn't really want a family, or he wasn't as, you know, ambitious about wanting a family like she was. That's why she's with her husband. So he pretty much comes back into the picture. I'm not gonna tell y'all how, but he comes back into the picture and she's pretty much trying to fight off temptation to be with him or to leave her family for him. So we're gonna go ahead and end that on that note, and we're gonna go into show number 2. So show number 2 is the Upshaws Child. This show is amazing. It's with Mike Epps, Wanda Sykes, Kim Fields. Like, a lot of good names is in this show, honey, and the show is hilarious. It's really like one of my favorite comedian shows or comedy shows on the on Netflix right now. I cannot wait until season 2. I literally watched season 1 all in one day. Like, the episodes are only about 22 minutes long, and I think it's only like 10 episodes. So you'll definitely get through that one fast and you'll be ready for season 2. This show is pretty much about a middle-class black family that, you know, goes through everyday life struggles. They do, I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like if you're from a black household, you will know. Like, a lot of the things they go through is a lot of things that I grew up going through in my home or in my household. Like, a lot of things they talk about, a lot of things they joke about. You know, it's very relatable. But it's really, really good. Make sure you check that show out. The next one is number 3, Firefly Lane. I watch all types of shows, y'all. So y'all can get a little bit of everything in there. Firefly Lane was a really good show. Like, it's pretty much about 2 friends that are kind of very different, but they're best friends. And it pretty much, like, one of the friends she is divorced. I want to say she's divorced. She got a divorce recently. So she's going through that. and she has a couple of kids. And then the other lady, she's the total opposite. She's like a TV show or a TV star, and she does not have any kids, doesn't really want any kids, don't really want a husband or none of that. Like, she just want to just live her life to the best. And I mean, even though, you know, having a family is definitely living your life, you know, but she just want to live her life single, honey, and ready to mingle all the time. So it's just showing two different types of friends. But it's a lot that goes on in that, and it's really good. It goes back into their past, how they met, how they grew up, things that have happened that put them into the place that they are now. But make sure to check that out. That's really good. Show number 4 is a documentary. It's called Heist Chill. This documentary is really good. It's about 3 different stories. They have 3 different stories, so it's 3 different episodes. One story is about a lady and her boyfriend that robbed Lumen's, honey, or is it Lumen's? I think it's Lumen's. Yeah, the armored truck. Pretty much, she gets a job working for Loomis, and pretty much tracked the route, end up robbing them. Pretty much how it went, and they got away with it. And she actually was the one that turned herself in. So that story was good. The second one was about it was a Hispanic, like, I don't know, like clique, I would say, because they weren't a gang or anything like that, I don't think. But they were like a clique, like they were family, friends, you know. And pretty much this guy is like, comes up with this plan to rob the airport. They have like millions of dollars coming in every weekend, and they robbed the airport. Child, they robbed the airport, and they got away with it too. Eventually they got caught, but they got away with it. The next story is about this man that works in a brewery, I think is how you say it. And he pretty much is stealing the liquor, honey. He's stealing the liquor going for like thousands of dollars a bottle. And he got, you know, doctors and high profile people just buying this liquor from him. Child, he made a good bit of money off of this doggone liquor, honey. He did it for some years, and pretty much he got caught up in some stuff. They blamed something on him. It actually was not him, it was somebody else, child. It was just a whole big old mess. But it's a really good show, and it's definitely something to look at or watch. All right, so we are at number 5, Dead to Me. Now, this show I watched a while ago. I think they're about to come out with season 3, but I think I've heard that actually season 3 is not even coming to Netflix. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that more. But Dead to Me is pretty much about this widow that ends up going to a support group after, like, her husband died from a hit and run. She went to this support group. It's a lady in the support group that pretty much connects with her, and they pretty much are trying to find out who killed her husband. So that is very interesting, like the ride along to her trying to find out who killed her husband. I think on season 2 they actually find out, and it kind of ends on a cliffhanger. So hopefully we get a season 3 to Netflix, because I'm definitely ready to see how that ended. All right, now show number 6, Virgin River. Oh my gosh, like, this is definitely one of my favorites right now. Hold on. So, Virgin River. This show is really good. It's about a small town. And if you've watched, I think the show is called Heart of Dixie. If you watch Heart of Dixie, this is similar to Heart of Dixie. It's kind of really the same, honestly, because it's about a medical professional. She's a nurse practitioner that moves to this small town after her husband dies. And she ends up pretty much, it seems like she got into a depressed state, which is probably a normal stage when someone passes. And she ends up wanting to leave because obviously, you know, everywhere you look, you see your husband or you see, you know, memories of y'all. So she moves to the small town, takes a contract for this small doctor's office. Come to find out, the doctor don't know nothing about a child. He didn't want her there. She ended up kind of not wanting to be there, but eventually, you know, the town falls in love with her. She falls in love with the town, and she stays. She ends up meeting this guy, and child, something comes up. I'm not gonna say what, but something comes up when they start dating. Something comes up with him and his ex. Then she ends up going, when they're on the outs on one season, she ends up going back home to LA. Her and her husband was trying to get pregnant, and they had several miscarriages. She ends up going to the sperm bank and inseminating her deceased husband's sperm that they had left, or the embryo, I think, I don't know. But she ends up getting inseminated and comes back to the small town. Her and her boyfriend kind of start to work it out, child. And I ain't gonna say no more on that note, but just watch that show to find out what happened, because it's good, child. Okay, number 7, Ozark. Ozark is an old show. It's been on Netflix for a while. I'm sure many of y'all that are even watching this probably have seen this show before. Pretty much it's about this guy that he works at some type of big corporate type of job, and he ends up, something happens with the company, I believe. I want to say they go into witness protection. Child, I do not remember, because it's so, like, it's been on Netflix for a long time, but something happens to where they have to move to the Ozark, which is in a small town in Missouri. And they start to run a business, end up eventually having a casino. It's like the struggles of trying to rebuild yourself in a different city, like coming from nothing to having to rebuild to where you were. And honestly, it's really good. Like, a lot of small town BS that goes on in that show, and they get involved, I think, even with like drug lords and stuff like that. Child, the show is really good. It's definitely something to watch. Number 8 is 7 Seconds. So 7 Seconds is a show with only one season. One. I know it sucks that they didn't come out with another season. I don't know if it was meant to be like that, but it's pretty much about this mom, which is Regina King. She's she loses a son. Her son dies, and pretty much they're trying to figure out who killed her son. It's really good, and it's really it's just really a good show. It's something that's needed to watch. So number 9 is Sweet Magnolia. Hopefully they come out with a season 2, because baby, it's been a couple years now that show has come out. Like, I don't know what they got going on with season 2, but that show is about a mom that is recently divorced. Her husband left her, honey, for his nurse, because he's a doctor. He left her for his nurse, child. And she's pretty much trying to, you know, learn how to be a single mom. And, you know, just getting used to things, as the being a single mom is like her new normal now. So she's getting used to that. It's a lot of other characters in the show. A lot of other things is going on. It's another small town show. But it's good. It ends off in a cliffhanger. So, you know, watch it at your own risk. Like, I don't know if they're coming out with a season 2, but I really, really hope so, because it was good, honey. All right. So we are on to number 10, Bridgerton. Child, that show is good. So that show is about, it's just like every other show. It's got a lot of different things going on in it, but I'll tell y'all the main character's story. Pretty much this girl, she's like a child, like, I think her mom had like 7 kids. So she's like one of 7, and she's pretty much at that age to where because this is back in like the 1800s, where she's at this age where it's time for her to get married, honey. She needs that ring. So she ends up getting caught somewhere that you're not supposed to be with the male, and they pretty much end up having to get married. I think she really did like the guy. I think they already kind of liked each other, but it was kind of like, you know, it was her brother's best friend, and it kind of was like, that's off limits, honey, you know, it's off limits. You ain't supposed to do that. So they end up getting caught in some area, and he's like forced to marry her, and so they pretty much, he's a duke, so she has to move to, I think he was from Hastings, I think it's called Duke of Hastings is what his title was. So they have to she had to move there. They pretty much are getting used to the married life and whatnot, and they do actually really love each other. And they end up pretty much, she wants a family, he don't want a family, so they have to go through the struggles of that whole situation, and one of them win the whole situation. So y'all just have to watch and see, who did they get a family, do they not get a family, and the reasons behind why he don't want a family, which is a good story. So we gonna go ahead and slide into season, why do I keep calling them seasons? Show number 11, Jenny and Georgia. Honey, this show is good. Like, pretty much it's about a single mom that it's kind of like she's on the run. They move from state to state, and Jenny is tired of that, honey. She's tired of her mom moving them from state to state, and she kind of feels like she's the mom in the situation. Like, she's raising her mom, and sometimes it happens like that, where in a lot of households, some households, the child is raising the parent, but she's what's going on in that? So now that I think they moved to, no, I don't think they moved from Texas, I don't know where they ended up landing in, but they moved to this new city, and Georgia, which is the mom, she's kind of like running out of money, or her husband died. She's supposed to be getting the money from her husband, but his ex-wife is kind of fighting her on that. So pretty much she's running out of coins, honey. So she gotta figure out ways to make stuff shake, you know? So she's doing that, and then trying to find a new husband, pretty much, it seems to be. And then her daughter which is Jenny, pretty much getting used to a new school, and in the point where she's liking guys and ready to do other things with guys, ready to advance, you know? And she kind of falls in love with this guy that's off limits because it's her best friend's brother, you know? That's off limits. So she falls in love with him, but she ends up dating some other guy, and child, it's a whole bunch of drama that goes into that. So y'all need to make sure y'all watch that, so y'all can see who is it that Jenny picks. Like, who is it? Who ends up being the one for her? So we are now going to go into movies. We have 4 movies, so we are on number 12. The first movie is going to be Fatherhood. This is a movie with Kevin Hart, and it's a really good movie, honestly. Like, the movie is about Kevin Hart is now a widowed husband. I think they're called widowed. Is it widowed? Anyway, his wife passes during childbirth, or not during childbirth, but after childbirth, and he has to become a single father now, and he don't have no other kids, so he's kind of learning everything as he goes. His family, his mom and her mom, actually want to suggest to take the baby, and they raise the baby, and he lives his life in where he lives, because they moved from their hometown. He's like, no, honey, that's my child. I want my child here. Okay. So pretty much years go on, and he kind of feels like he can't raise her anymore. So he takes her up to where they're from, and lets her mom, or lets his wife's mom, keep his daughter. And she's probably like 6 or 7 at this time. And he ends up pretty much realizing that that's not it, you know. And he also is trying to get used to, like, you know, dating and things like that. But it's a really good movie, so you should definitely watch that. The next movie is Malcolm and Marie, which is about a relationship, or about a couple that is trying to, or not trying to, but it's like they get into it. It's like that back and forth you and your spouse or your husband or your significant other does. Like, it's really like real life. Like, that's really what be happening. Like, when we are in a whole argument at one point of the argument, we're thinking that we're working things out. Next minute, we're like, like, it's just like, you know, it's a really good movie. And I think that at first I was kind of on the fence of it, if it was good or not. But I don't like that they're in one setting out of the whole movie. But I think it's definitely a show for couples to watch. So now we are on, child, I think I messed up the numbers, because I said that was number 13. Okay. So now we're on number 14, which is Resort to Love. This is a movie with Christina Milian, and I loved the movie. It was a really good story. She pretty much, she was a singer in New York, and she was engaged to this guy. Pretty much he gets a job and he leaves her. Simple as that. Like, something happened behind the story, but like, he ends up leaving her. I think she's just not as available as he wants her to be. Which, she's a singer trying to get her music off the ground, so she's in the studio all the time, and he just don't like that. So he ends up packing up, moving to Charleston, South Carolina for a job, and just don't say anything. So she ends up getting, a year later, she ends up getting a job working at a resort in like the Bahamas. It's not the Bahamas, I don't think, but it's somewhere tropical. And she's a singer at the resort. She ends up meeting this guy on the beach, and they kind of, you can tell they vibing out. They kind of liking each other. They like, you know, if you see me around, you see me around. Like, you know, she ends up running into him at the resort. And while they're talking, she's hearing this voice behind her, and she's like, damn, that voice sounds familiar. She turns around, boom, it's the ex-fiance. So ex-fiance is there getting married. So guess what? The guy that she's talking to is there for a wedding. And guess who he is? He is the guy's brother. So now she's kind of like, you know, she liked old boy, but that's my ex-fiance brother. How would that ever even work? Pretty much they get, she ends up going to like a lot of the wedding things, and they keep the secret from the fiance now. They keep the secret that they just say that she was just somebody that lived in the apartment building, child. It's just a whole hot behind mess how that ends up coming out. But let's go ahead to movie number 15, or Netflix number 15. So this one is another Christina Milian movie. It's called Falling in Love. So I love me a good love story, baby, and this is one. So she pretty much is I don't know what she does. She works for some corporation, and they end up going under or something like that, and she ends up like wanting to advance in her relationship, but it's like her boyfriend is not wanting to take it any further, like as far as moving in or at least sharing a closet, like sharing a part of her closet, or anything. He don't want to do none of that, honey. So she ends up breaking up with him. She applies enter into this like contest to where it's to win an inn, which is, you know, like a bed and breakfast type of situation. So she ends up applying for it. She ends up getting the inn, which is in New Zealand. So she ends up moving to New Zealand. Well, she goes to visit. I don't think she moves, but she like goes on a visa to New Zealand, and she ends up meeting this guy as she's like going to the inn, and he ends up turning out to be a contractor, but I don't think she knew that at the time. When she got to the end, child, it was a hot mess. It needed a lot of work done to it. So she ends up going to the hardware store, and she runs into the contractor again. So she ends up declining his help and all of that, and pretty much eventually she ends up taking him up on his offer and going 50-50 on the end, and they're gonna just sell it at the end when they're done with it. But things kind of change because now they're falling in love. So pretty much her ex-boyfriend is still in the picture, so that becomes a hot mess in itself. And it's also some competition. One of the other women that own another inn in the town wants to buy this inn, so she's trying to buy the inn from her, but she's like, nah, you know what, I think I want to work on it and then, you know, sell it at that point in time. But that is a really good movie, so that's definitely something else to check out. That's all of the suggestions that I have for now. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or anything you want to share about these shows, definitely make sure to put it in the comments. I hope you all enjoyed, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to your girl channel because it's definitely more videos to come. Bye.